police have been violently arresting and breaking up student encampments that are demanding divestment from their universities, divestment from the occupied territories in Palestine. Universities like Columbia, which is leading the charge here, but Barnard across the way, NYU, Yale, and a lot more encampments are now spreading to Harvard, MIT, Vanderbilt, Berkeley. Dozens of students have been suspended from the schools I just mentioned. And Students for Justice in Palestine and Columbia, for example, had been banned for months now. The White House just recently has come out condemning antisemitism on campus as if that's what was the main overarching thing. And then, of course, a lot of Zionists in high places are calling these demonstrators basically worse than Charlottesville. So this is it's been a massive story, and now it's sort of come to a head now that Columbia has, I guess, once again become a focal point for anti-war demonstrators and free speech and the lack thereof. But just to give you a little slice of what people on the internet with some following and power are saying, you have David Frum saying no student loan forgiveness for students arrested for disrupting other students' educational activities, which is just like, cool. Didn't you try to sell us on the Iraq War, you dick? So that's kind of lightweight. Then you got Eve Fartlow, noted Zionist, saying Charlottesville is child's play in comparison to what's going on at Columbia. And not to be one-upped by, of course, the most disappointing senator, maybe even more disappointing than Kyrsten Sinema, because she was kind of a grab bag. John Fetterman tweeting, I fully agree with the White House. These protests are anti-Semitic, unconscionable, and dangerous. Add some tiki torches, and it's Charlottesville for these Jewish students. To Columbia President Manoush Shafiq, do your job or resign so Columbia can find someone who will. Stand by on more from Ms. Shafiq. But that is a senator. These are high profile idiots calling this Charlottesville, NATO, that this is the equivalent of Charlottesville, students who are demanding that their universities divest. I want to say there have been some instances of what appeared to be targeted attacks or assaults on Jewish students who are, let's be more specific with our language, pro-Israel demonstrators. However, there's also indicators that those people who assaulted some of those pro-Israel demonstrators were actually outside agitators. There is reporting, I think we have it from, this is from Waleed Shahid, who's been on this show, who used to work with Justice Dems, just tweeting from the Shirian Collective, quote tweeting something that they had put out not too long ago saying, Operation Global Insight, join Shirian's collective first undercover operation and become an agent embedded in enemy lines at this weekend's protests. What we're looking for is individuals who can maintain cool, calm, and collected demeanor against triggering Jew hate and pressure. Volunteers willing to wear keffiyehs and walk into these demonstrations masked. And yeah, so this is, they're going to give you more money potentially if you are have an Arabic sounding name and a Middle Eastern appearance. So again, this is actually not new. If you followed any kind of pro-Zionist or pro-Israel, for lack of a better term, infiltration in universities that's been unfolding for the last, I think, 20 years now. But NATO, some of your thoughts about the fact that all of these students' uprisings are being painted as anti-Semitic.
What I've been thinking about recently, Francesca, is remember how after September 11th, there was the surge of Islamophobia and Islamophobic hate crimes and hate crimes against Sikhs, and how offensive it was, and how people complained that Muslims had to disavow terrorism in order to be taken seriously about anything, and how people were like, no, not all Muslims are Al Qaeda. Mm-hmm. It feels like what the Zionist lobby is pushing is the opposite of just to identify all Jews with the Israeli government. It's like it is as if they were like, no, we're all Al Qaeda. We're definitely all 1 billion Muslims are Al Qaeda. All Jews in the world are Mossad.
Yes.
And so when they do what we were talking about a minute ago of trying to make anti-Zionist Jews and Jewish peace protesters invisible and deny that we even exist or are Jews, and then make these proclamations about like about that all Jews, that Israel is essential to the safety of all Jews, and all Jews feel this way, and this sort of turning Jews into a monolith in the narrative in terms of supporting Israel, then it's like, then you get rising anti-Semitism. Like, it's called blowback. It's what we talked about on October 8th, that violence begets more violence.
Yeah.
Like Hamas, if you try to outshoot it, it would lead to further radicalization.
Yeah.
And here we are, and now you're getting further radicalization around these issues. And just to also let us not forget that college is expensive. And so to some extent, some of the alarmism about anti-Semitism on college campuses is, to me, giving a bit of suburban Jews freaked out about being in cities. Okay, Hannah, you didn't have to leave the subdivision in Pasadena to go to school.
Right. Yeah. There's a man touching himself on the subway, and I'm pretty sure he's Hamas. Yeah, no,
right.
That's.
Yeah,
I mean,
you could have gone to UC Riverside and been cool. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and I think I have so many thoughts, because obviously I was a student radicalized after 9/11, specifically in the moment that you're describing, and seeing the amount of Islamophobia and then the rush to war, and then the way to paint. I mean, there was a ubiquitous, what kids are feeling now. I want to say children, because I feel like they are. What kids are feeling now is this ubiquitous monolithic line of, you do not criticize Israel ever. And yet in their literal hands, they're seeing reporters from the ground in Gaza filming, medical workers who had been handcuffed and then summarily murdered en masse and buried in a mass grave in a hospital in Khan Yunis. These are the kinds of images, and they're being told. When we were protesting, I was an NYU student in 2001, 2003. I lived through 9/11. I was there, whatever. And then was participating in the anti-war movement and the divestment movement, specifically when it came to Palestine, because I think, all the anti-war stuff was a gateway drug to be like, hey, what's going on over here in this other endless war occupation that we also promote. And I forgot what I was saying, but basically, never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined the kinds of repression that we are seeing. Look, I remember NYPD was on our asses when we were protesting around NYU, but there was a little bit of campus security is on your side. Not really, but it felt like a semi-safe zone. We did die-ins and whatnot. We did teach-ins openly about the anti-war movement or about Iraq. Nobody tried to shut us down for being, anti-American, I guess it would have been. But here you have students, faculty, all arrested and roughed up. You have now, NYU particularly has erected just barricades around any plazas to be like, you cannot do free speech. And it's just, if there's anything more radicalizing than a genocide happening that everyone tells you is not happening, it is the weight of the state coming at you, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and enforcing speech and arresting you and suspending you from your own school that you pay $30,000 a year to go to, that you're like, hey, I would like this money not invested in fucking war. That is so radicalizing. If you think, yes, it's true, the kids who are orphaned in Gaza are also being radicalized, but these students are being radicalized. So if you want to stop the radicalization, stop fucking repressing them. So anyway, I just that. Then you get me. Do you know what I'm saying? Then you get a me. You guys want more me on your hands? What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.